Howdy, everyone. So I am working on this back panel. This is the back of the cargo area, and boy, I should gather my thoughts before I actually start recording, so I don't sound like some idiot. But so yeah, so this is the back um, bulkhead area of the cargo bay, and this particular piece, it came already pre-punched along the bottom. So all I did was cleco it across the bottom, and then it was also pre-punched up both sides. So the clecos went right into the existing nut plates across the bottom. That basically held the panel in place, and then it was just a matter of match drilling through the pre-punched holes in the panel, match drill those existing holes into the bulkhead. So once this is clecoed across the bottom, you just match drill up the side, and then the couple of locations here in the middle. And then, of course, after those holes were match drilled into the bulkhead itself, then you put in your nut plates. So the nut plates across the bottom were already in, so I just added the nut plates up the side here on both sides. And then you won't be able to see it from this angle, but there are nut plates in here, the two in the middle. Once that was done, then I went ahead, obviously, and clecoed the entire piece in place. And then I started working on the top section, which is what I'm currently working on here. So now this piece is a little bit more involved because it has the provisions here for the seatbelt anchor cable to come through, which is kind of what I'm working on now. That main panel that I just showed you on the airplane and this panel already come cut to size, so you don't have to do anything with either one of them, except this panel you have to cut the radius. And some guidance that I will talk about real quick. If you want your cutout to be symmetrical, in other words, you want this cutout to match this cutout, to get them symmetrical and to get the entire panel to look correct and square, it's very simple. When you look at the instructions, they tell you exactly where to put your reference line. So it's like 2 1/8 inches up from the bottom, and I think it's 8.5 inches from the end. And that's your pivot point. So from that pivot point, you have 8.5 inches, which is your radius. So you want, if from the bottom here you have whatever the dimension is, like I said, I think it's 2 1/8. You want to make a 2 1/8 inch mark here. So you've got your pivot point, and then you've got the same mark out at the end. And then on this side here, you want your 8.5 inch dimension from the edge. So you come from the edge, you come over 8.5 inches, you make a mark at the top. And then from the bottom, your 2 1/8, you make a mark here. And basically all that does is when you lay out from your pivot point, you come across with your 8.5 inches. You want that 8.5 inch mark to hit right at this line, and then you want it to curve around and you want it to hit right at this mark. So that gives you your curve here. And all I did was I just tied a Sharpie marker to a piece of string, and I held the string on my pivot point, And then I just went around with the marker and made sure that I hit my 2 reference marks. That gives you a nice curve, and it also makes sure that this curve matches this curve. So, that just makes sure that this edge is straight until you hit the mark, and then it curves, and then by the time you hit this mark, the curve is done, and you have a nice straight edge. So you don't have a curve that starts down here, or you don't have a curve that ends over here, and then on this side it ends here and it starts here. You don't have curves that are all over the place. I have 2 seconds, battery